On around the Northwest. Thanks for listening in this Friday afternoon. Killybegs author Garrett Carr teaches creative writing at the Seamus Heaney Centre in Queen's University in Belfast, and he's a frequent contributor to The Guardian and the Irish Times. His non-fiction book, The Rule of the Land, Walking Ireland's Border, was BBC Radio 4 Book of the Week. And his debut novel, The Boy from the Sea, has been shortlisted for the Irish Novel of the Year at the Irish Book Awards. Well, Garrett now joins us on the line. Garrett, good afternoon.
Hello, thanks for having me.
No problem. Congratulations, first of all. It must have been great to get nominated.
It is, yes, wonderful to see, and there's a lot of great writers there, so it's I'm looking forward to it'll be a big evening out for me.
When's it on?
27th of November.
27th of November. Okay, yeah. Well, you'll be getting the dicky bow on for that one.
Don't know if we'll go that far, but yeah, close enough.
Okay. Tell us a bit about the book. You're from Killybegs, and it's actually set in Killybegs, so it's set in the real Killybegs, but the story is all fictional and the characters are all fictional. Is that correct?
Yeah, that is correct. Yeah, it's in my story, in my novel, a baby is found abandoned just on the edge of town, and he's adopted by a fishing family called the Bonners, who take him in. But this causes lots of ructions because they already have a son called Declan who never accepts this new interloper, and it threatens to really destroy both their lives. This rivalry between the two of them threatens to destroy both their lives over the next 20 years. Right. But he also has a big impact on the town. The boy, he's sort of, how do you say, he awakens a kind of a longing in the townspeople as well, and they start taking him as a kind of a source of guidance and sort of spiritual comfort also.
Any of it based on real life? Are there bits and pieces? You know, I'd say it's hard when you're writing a novel not to include some bits and pieces from, I don't know, your own past, your own upbringing, your own life experiences. Is that the case in this book?
Well, I mean, my father was a fisherman, and I suppose we grew up something like the Bonner family in The Boy from the Sea. My father was a bit more well-traveled, though, because he'd worked on oil tankers and various types of ships around the world. He was kind of like an old-fashioned sailor, really, the complete mold. So going back to but he did return to Killybegs in the 70s and got a boat there. So in that sense, so there's a fair bit of autobiography in that sense. And although I was never a fisherman myself, it did give me some sense of that these people and that culture, which is what I wanted to capture. And it's a people and a culture who haven't really been looked at, I think, in Irish novels before. So that was part of the thinking as well. I just thought somebody ought to do it.
Yeah.
Why not me?
Yeah, and maybe you're going to start a trend because there's plenty of stories and real life stories at that to come out of Killybegs in what was the heyday of fishing in the 70s and 80s, and you couldn't, if you're growing up there, those times it was a real Klondike, and you couldn't but be caught up on it or be involved in it in some shape or form.
Yeah, no, that's absolutely true. Yeah, it was such an extraordinary economy, really. And this was also great for me. In terms of there's great drama in it because some people are getting very rich very quickly, and then other people, like my father, for example, it wasn't working out for them at all. So there's just drama there to be had. You got these people who are working very closely together, and then some people just go on off to make absolute fortunes, and then other people not so much. But it's just the fact that it was so tumultuous, I suppose, and so excessive, and it made it quite a distinct town as well. I feel like a lot of novels set around that time, we tend to put a lot of emphasis on the church. Whereas I felt really that we weren't that affected. I suppose we didn't have there wasn't a convent school or anything like that in Killybegs. No, there was no Catholic school.
No.
So I kind of felt that was I could put that social aspect in the background a little bit, which was kind of good just to be original. I think it is much more a hard-driven sort of money earning town. Really, I don't think we were too affected by what the priest said on Sundays. Really.
And it was a town that just changed whenever there was fish. It just changed dramatically. All of a sudden, it just packed up because those workers coming from all corners of the county when there was fish and fish that needed to be processed, and then it was settled down for a few months, maybe during the summer, and then take off
Yeah.
again. So it was strange. It was unique, I suppose, in many ways.
Yeah, it was quite seasonal. Yeah, yeah. I mean, that's something I kind of brushed over in the novel, but I don't pay much attention to the seasonality of it.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
The mackerel fisheries probably sort of towards the later part of the year, October and November would be in a major sort of boom time.
Yeah. Uh,
And then the summers when I was working in the factories, we would have been a lot. I seem to remember a lot of scad going through, a lot of mackerel as well going through. But yeah, it rose and fell. So a lot of fishermen would be doing other things as well. You know, it's a bit like farming in that sense.
yeah.
A lot of people would be perhaps going off and working somewhere else for different parts of the year.
Yeah. When it got quieter during the winter on the farm, when there was a bit less to do, it was a good time because the factories were busy with the fish. But it's a bit tricky, I suppose, when you base it in, even though you've got fictional characters and it's a fictional story, but you base it in a real town. You have to sort of box clever. You have to be careful that it doesn't bear any resemblance to, real and living people, or even those who lived there in the
Well,
past.
oh, I don't know about that. I mean, I think I probably did want it to resemble people.
Oh,
But sorry to contradict you. I mean, but I only mean that in a general sort of way.
okay.
I mean, people should be recognizable in the sense that you'll understand these kinds of characters existing in that sort of time. I suppose what frees it up a little bit is it's set largely in the 70s. So there's that kind of historical distance from it as well.
Okay.
And no, I wasn't trying to base anyone in particular, but uh, take for example Phyllis, who's living with her tyrannical father, Eunan, on the edge of town.
Mm.
And it's a terrible he's a terrible dictator, and he has in some senses destroyed her life really. And that's not based on anyone in particular, but at the same time I've been in those front rooms, I've been in those living rooms, and kind of I have taken in that atmosphere.
All right.
um and I wouldn't really be able to report on it unless I had some true sense of it, and that is what I'm after. I'm after it's part of the job of a novel really to
As,
bear witness to a time and a place and a
yeah.
people, apart from the story. The whole sense of you're trying to put down, and it might be the only time it happens, what a certain place was like and what the people were like at a certain time. And so yeah, I don't really worry about somebody deciding that a certain character is based on their grandmother or something, because it could happen. I can't really stop that happening.
The Sunday Times described it as a joy. The Guardian said it is a surprising, tender, and warm-hearted novel. So the best look. It's been out a while now, hasn't it, Garrett?
It was out originally in February, yes.
Yeah, okay. But now nominated for the Irish Book Awards as Irish Novel of the Year, and it's available now in all good bookshops. And how's life teaching creative writing in Queens?
It's good, yeah. I mean, it's busy. It's very popular at the moment. It's sort of on the rise everywhere, I think. Um, so I in some ways I try to think of it as teaching communications, but then via the format of creative writing. And yeah, we get a lot of really good students past them. I'm thinking especially about the postgraduate, because we have an MA and
Yeah.
PhD students. So Louise Kennedy, for example, who wrote Trespasses, she was one of our students. She only came out a few years.
Brilliant.
And Michael McGee as well, of Close to Home. He's another one of our graduates. So it's a pretty strong. It's more like a sort of a cultural center than a university department, really, in some ways.
Must give you a great sense of pride when you see someone like Louise, for instance, going on and doing great things.
Absolutely, someone like that, it was going to work out for her anyway. I think really, she came very fully formed as an artist.
Right.
I suppose she's slightly older than most of the students, so she's had this extraordinarily busy and interesting life, and so she just packs it into her prose, and yeah, she's really good writer. Yeah.
Well, whether you have a Dickie Bow on or not, the best look at the awards, Garrett, at the end of the month. We'll keep an eye as to how it goes. But great to be nominated anyhow. Thanks.
Okay, thank you very much.
I went to a party in LA where all of